This episode of Hero Club is supported by our good friends over at Mage Hand Press. Check them out at magehandpress.com and be sure to buy their masterpiece supplement for Dungeons & Dragons in space, Dark Matter. Use the promo code RIFTRATS, all one word, for 15% off. If you like Hero Club, remember to rate and review on your preferred platform and tell your friends. Thanks for listening.
Welcome to Hero Club. I'm Nick Williams.
And I am George Primavera.
George and I have been playing D&D together for years.
Now, a lot of people think you need to be a big, huge nerd boy to play Dungeons & Dragons.
But in reality, you just have to be willing to spend 4 hours of your own time on a weekday trashed on cheap beer cross-legged around a coffee table.
I lost a game of Flip Cup in 2012, so I had to buy all the books and learn how to be Dungeon Master. My dad was disappointed.
Yeah, he was. But after a game or two, we realized that it's actually a really fun and effective way to tell an awesome story.
Yeah, it's like long-form improv, but you kill more people.
Here's what you need to know. George creates a world and the framework for a cool story.
And the players, like Nick, create characters beforehand, all with special abilities, sometimes magical, sometimes not, and they adventure through the story as best they can, trying not to die.
We, the players, roll dice to see if our improvised actions fail or succeed, trying to beat a number in George's head that he promises he doesn't change at will.
But at the table, I am God, my game, my rules.
Okay, so it's as nerdy as you thought. You know what? Just off, man.
Oh,
right off,
all right,
okay?
Nick, maybe don't tell everybody to F off. And it's not that nerdy. I mean, we get rid of all that stupid math, and we add music and sound effects and stuff like that, so, you know, it's cool.
Anyway, these stories do follow a linear plot, so if you want to know what's going on, start at the beginning of any season you like and have fun with it.
Without further ado,
welcome to Hero Club! Yeah!
You've fallen right into what? Wait, hang on. Are you doing it or am I doing it?
Reagan, Cora, and CB, having just left the beige mining planet behind them, gaze at the monstrous faces before them on the HUD screen. Two humanoid heads joined together at the neck, leading to the top half of a muscular, deformed torso. Thinning bits of hair sit atop each of their heads. The creature leans forward, and one of the two heads begins speaking to you through the ship's PA.
Hello, you are trespassers, but we will come back to that. We were just wondering if, You know anything about a distress signal from this planet? It would have been, some guys kind of like us, but with one head and, smaller.
No, we didn't hear anything. Who are you?
You dirty liar. You're the only ones near this planet, which makes us think that you know about the distress signal that came from this planet. On account of you being close to this planet.
Well, see, that's funny, because the reason I came to this planet was I was kind of following a distress signal. And then I kind of saw something that heavily implies you two had something to do with it.
That's not funny. And I don't like what you happen to be implying in a very similar way to the way we implied it about you.
The irritated being on the other end of the call gives a large, exasperated sigh,
Exasperated.
reaches forward and pulls a large black lever with one of their massive arms, and a steel curtain raises behind them, revealing a structure very similar to a fireplace in appearance, filled with silvery gray metal. The metal gives off a faint glow, and the two heads close their eyes in a satisfied, relaxed fashion.
Oh, that feels good. You see, we're Plutonians. So we love Pluton.
Are you trying to say plutonium?
The creature's pale skin begins to tinge a yellowy color, as if it's being tanned in real time.
Don't know how you say it, just know how it feels.
One of the heads looks down to the corner of the screen, reaches his hand forward yet again, and this time they pull a large, opaque jar forward. One of the hands buries itself in the jar, you hear a sloshing of liquid, and then they pull out a small, bug-like creature, its wriggling body attempting to escape the large, clawed hand.
Well, I'm gonna snort you. Think of this as a metaphor for what's about to happen to you. Yummy.
Okay, enough. I'm sick and tired of your crap. Last time I saw you two, you had my sister strung over your shoulder. Now tell me who you are and tell me where she is.
Well, brother, it's clear our reputation precedes us.
It is clear, at least, that they saw us take a lady.
We're the Brothers Soup, two Plutonians from Ascalaba.
Technically one Plutonian with two faces and mouths.
But we don't like to discriminate.
Against yourselves?
Who's the little talking mustache guy?
My name is none of your concern there, Super Chief. Super Chiefs? Are you guys one guy or two guys?
That's a great moment of a semantic argument for us.
And also non-discrimination from you.
Hey, what can I say? I try my best. But I don't like how you're talking to my best bud.
7 sachets forward. Yes, that's right. We don't like how you're talking to our best friends. Where is the sister of Reagan?
Guys, I know Reagan's sister's really important, but are we just gonna ignore the fact that they threatened to snort us?
A sister of Reagan? I ain't seen a sister of Reagan since back on Molyneux.
And honestly, Fragan was not a great guy.
Don't worry, Cora, we're getting to that part. Nobody on this ship takes threats lightly, you two-headed hoser.
Wow. All forward progress. Out the window.
I got a good mind to feed you the right left until the cows come home.
Behind the two-headed monstrosity, a door opens, and a decrepit, hunched abomination stumbles forward.
Master Soup, the laborers require sustenance.
Okay, I'm just gonna say it. I am very frustrated with the frequency with which the laborers require sustenance.
Can we all please just share our rations appropriately?
Or possibly just eat the laborers?
I have been arguing this from day one. Alright, you win. Eat the laborers. Really, you mean it?
Yes, of course. This is a very open discourse.
Master Soup, you are most generous.
Alright, now I'm like 80% sure that these aren't good guys.
Oh, we are not, which brings us to our second point.
Time for you all to die.
The video screen goes dark.
Reagan, her hand dropping from the pocket with her sister's picture in it, starts readying the ship for combat. We did not make it this far to get pushed around by these guys. Everyone to your stations.
Captain, may I suggest the airlock for 7?
I am a natural-born leader. An airlock sounds perfectly fine with me. What is that?
7, you stay right here with me. Cora, why don't you go on the gun deck?
I'll burn them to the ground.
Cora walks off to the gun deck.
Captain, I am detecting incoming ships.
I'll be in the engine room. Good luck, Ray. I'll see you on the other side. CB dives through the chute in the back of the cockpit, headed towards the engine room.
Reagan, ahead of you, you see several ships rocketing towards you. Perfect spheres with a ring of thrusters around the entirety of each craft. They flash as the little assault balls shoot towards the Emissary.
All right, I'm counting 5 or 6.
The video screen reappears with an incoming call.
And Reagan accepts.
The brothers Zoop reappear.
So, did you see our message?
The message is the murder balls.
Look, I'm only gonna ask this once. Do you have this woman? And Reagan holds up the picture of Sylvia.
No, you have that woman. You're holding her right there.
She's very tiny.
The faces have a point, Ray.
See, this guy gets it.
Like I said, I'm only gonna ask once. And Reagan ends the call.
When she tries to hang it up, the video screen does not disappear, but instead becomes a tiny little video screen in the corner of the HUD. No matter how many times she tries, the call will not fully hang up.
So you gonna ask again or what?
Because if not, we're gonna murder you.
We're gonna murder you either way, but it's just more fun if you ask.
Cora calms into Reagan.
Should I shoot?
Shoot him.
And the battle kicks off.
Reagan tightens her harness and puts her hands on the thruster. Wallace, shields up front.
Right away, Captain.
7, standing, looks around. Well, where should I sit?
In one of the 3 other empty seats around me.
Closest to you. 7 straps in.
All right, everyone, get ready.
Oh, we're ready.
Reagan hits the button for the tractor beam, aiming at the closest ship to them.
Roll an attack.
11.
The tractor beam blasts forward, but the little orb zooms out of the way.
God damn it. Cora, aim for the next one.
The little spheres zoom past Cora, who is peeking out into space from the gun deck, a little bubble on the bottom of the ship. a large laser cannon attached to the underside. The ships whip past, leaving one directly in Cora's sights.
Got it. 27.
The cannon fire rattles the entire gun deck. A plasma orb shoots forward, dissolving the entire center of the spherical ship approaching. The metal husk floats past the gun deck slowly.
Oh my god, that was so cool.
CB flips and weaves through the machinery in the engine room, spinning knobs and cranking gears as he goes. Let's see that two-headed jabroni take one of these. And he throws a massive switch, redirecting extra power into Cora's cannon to give it more of an oomph.
The spherical ships wheel around on a dime, 2 Gatling guns poking out of the front of each of them, and they open fire on the rear of the Emissary. However, the wide path they've taken to avoid the tractor beam messes with their aim, and only one of them connects, lighting up the back left engine of the Emissary. The Zoop brothers then speak up from that little pip in Reagan's HUD.
Did they just take out Alistair?
No, that was Lucas.
Either way, snort, snort.
Zoom zoom.
There's a low-pitched whine from the dreadnought, and then a gigantic purple beam lights up the black void of space, firing directly at the Emissary.
22.
The Emissary rocks with the impact, everybody grabbing whatever they can to steady themselves.
Captain, shields are at 85%. Further blasts of that magnitude would be detrimental to the structural integrity of the ship.
All right, I'm gonna try a different button. And Reagan presses the button to release the multitude of mines behind the ship directed at the orbs.
Little caches in the rear of the Emissary open up, and a payload of tiny little metal devices floats out into space. There's clearly a little bit of confusion from the pilots of the spherical ships as they don't move to avoid the little objects. Then, one ship goes up in flames that are immediately snuffed out by the vacuum of space. The other ships then swerve to avoid. All 4 ships successfully avoid the rest of the floating objects, but now the space behind the Emissary is filled with little explosive devices, effectively rendering the whole area impassable.
I think the one that blew up was Gluggix, and honestly, I am not upset.
Does he owe us money?
Most of them do.
CB, go assess the damage.
CB ducks down into the underbelly of the engine and begins to assess the damage.
Roll a technology check.
29.
CB, a quick glance informs you of the following. The energy from the Dreadnought's cannon is passing directly through the Emissary's shields, leaving the little ship completely vulnerable to the massive cannon. Furthermore, the previous blast appears to have damaged some of the navigation system of the ship.
Wallace, reroute power through the subatomic plasma deflector. That should be able to kickstart the ship's thermomagnetic field. Get those shields back up and running.
Right away, CB.
CB climbs up and grabs the PA. Ray, you gotta avoid the blast from that big fella. It's cutting right through us like paper.
All right, keep it up, CB.
Cora maneuvers her blaster to the Dreadnought's cannon. She pulls the trigger and fires. 18.
The blast goes wide, impacting on the large ship's shields, which light up green a little bit. Upon closer inspection, little clouds of debris are floating around the ship, and as they come into contact, different parts of the shield are glowing, creating an odd, eerie twinkling effect around the gargantuan junker.
Damn it.
The ships around the Emissary swerve to the sides and begin opening fire on the Emissary's wings. Once again, only one of the spheres is able to do any damage to the ship. But then, that deep hum begins to resound once again, and the Zoop brothers fire their gigantic cannon.
I'm gonna do the big shooting gun again.
It seems like our best option.
It usually is.
19. Once again, the enormous beam rocks the Emissary, sending it careening to the left.
Shields are now at 65%.
We can't take any more hits like that, Ray.
Got it. And Reagan begins taking evasive maneuvers, quickly zigzagging the ship and doing barrel rolls to confuse the orbs following.
Captain, we've tried your way. Do you mind if we try mine?
And what could that possibly be?
Overwhelming charm! Zoop brothers,
Yes.
Present.
what do you want?
Finally.
Nobody ever asks the simple question.
We walk in, we say, we're gonna murder you, and everyone just goes, okay.
We'll murder you back.
It's so predictable.
And then it's like murder, murder, murder.
Which honestly gets old.
Frankly, if you could do one thing for us, it would be to be our slaves forever and declare your loyalty to the barbarian king.
How about no?
Well, we'll murder.
CB is still frantically repairing the ship's shields. Okay, hold it together now.
The shields have been restored to 70%.
Oh, beauty. CB once again begins to assess the damage to the ship. 15.
CB, this time the dark matter engine catches your eye. The little speck of matter within is vibrating violently, and even as you look at the little orb on top of the pedestal, a little crack begins to spiderweb over it.
Oh, jeez, Lou.
Cora aims for one of the orbs. Nat 20.
The plasma shoots forward, melts through one of the enemy ships, and then catches another in the wing, which doesn't fully destroy the ship, but does send it hurtling towards the beige planet's surface.
Okay, one of those was Alistair.
The two remaining enemy ships open fire, but have a hard time pinning Reagan down. Both are unable to hit the Emissary.
We are feeding both of them to the laborers.
And then eating the laborers.
And the Zoop brothers fire their gigantic cannon.
16.
This time, the massive beam goes just wide of the Emissary. Reagan, you can feel the heat from the cockpit as the beam passes directly in front of the windshield.
This seems to be working better.
Oh, it's getting hot.
You know, I kind of like having him up here.
Cora aims at another sphere and shoots. 16.
A direct hit. Yet another one of the ships goes down.
Oh, that felt good.
CB crawls deeper and deeper into the bowels of the engine, connecting wires from all around him, attempting to fully restore the shields.
Shields have been restored to 75%.
Ooh, all right. He drops out of the bottom of the engine and sprints over to the dark matter engine, standing on his tippy toes to inspect it specifically.
Roll a technology check with advantage.
23.
The spiderweb crack in the dome is expanding.
CB scurries up and grabs the PA once more. Ray, we got a bit of a problem here with the dark matter engine. We really can't get hit any more times by that big beam. I'm afraid she's breaking up. I hate to say it, but it might be time for us to hightail it out of here.
Not without Sylvia.
That's a big 10-4.
The last orb makes a heroic effort, shooting directly at the front of the Emissary, where all of the shields have been focused. The ship empties its clips at the front of the Emissary, approaching, and then impacting on the shield in a kamikaze-like fashion. However, the damage to the Emissary is minimal, and the ship is obliterated.
I would just like to say I respect the suicide.
But that woman had a family, and I want you all to feel so bad.
There are no more orbs remaining, but snorting more bugs?
It's zoom-in time, boys!
The ship opens fire once again. Reagan is able to dodge the beam a little more easily this time.
Damn it. Alright, should we send the rest of the fleet?
What, the other 700 ships?
Give or take.
No, it's 700.
Then yeah.
Oh, I have the best idea. Me.
Go on.
Not you. Me. Prime me. We can ask him for help. I may know nothing, but I know some standard platitudes that Prime has always said. Things like, the Barbosan air fleet is the strong right arm of the Zilch Empire. Why would he lie to me?
Reagan makes the Zoop brothers video full screen. All right, you got 700 more ships. That's cute. That Air Force he was talking about? 7,000. We're here scouting. That's all we're doing. You help us out with a little information, we're out of your hair, and you forget we were ever here.
Make a persuasion check.
25.
The Zoop brothers look puzzled for a moment.
Zimmich! Stop the ouchie blaster! We're listening.
Reagan once again holds up the photograph of Sylvia. Now look, this is my sister. Last I saw her, you two were taking her off of this planet. I just want to know where she is, and if you have her.
A sinister expression creeps over one of the heads of the Zoop brothers.
The Zoop brothers are all about granting wishes.
He hits a few buttons on his end, and the video changes. Instead of the horrific visage of the Zoot brothers, you see at least a score of laborers shoveling coal into a massive fire. The video pans to the left a bit, and eventually, you see long black hair spilling down the back of one of these laborers. The woman looks over her shoulder, and you see the face of Sylvia. Just as quickly as it appeared, the video returns to the Zoot brothers.
All right, 2 more wishes, and then we get one. The classic genie deal.
Reagan, what's going on? Should I aim at the big ship again?
Internally, Reagan experiences a whirlwind of emotions upon actually seeing her sister for the first time in 10 years. Externally, her face reveals nothing, and a small smile graces her lips. Now, Cora, relax. These are some obviously smart people. You don't get a ship this big without doing something right.
Roll a persuasion check.
12.
You think this is a big ship? You should see King Thorsbeard Ravenswolf's ship. King Thorsbeard Ravenswolf's ship is so big it makes us look like a stupid idiot. So there. All hail King Thorsbeard Ravenswolf's.
Oh, of course, right. Well, you see, we're not from here. You know that Stargate? Big green thing?
No, but continue.
Some refer to it as the Rift.
Still no, but continue.
Well, we're not from this dimension. And that means new tech, different weapons, stuff you haven't even seen. I think we can benefit from each other.
I think we gave you the 2 options on the table for you, which was either to become slaves to King Thorsbeard Ravenwolf, or to be murdered painfully and brutally by our gunship.
Well, now here's the thing. I already got a crew member who's been a slave. He did not like it, and I've been close to death 3 to 7 times. Did not love it. Don't plan on doing it again.
I'm gonna cut you off right there. I don't really need your thought process on this. I just need your decision. Zimmich, get the ouchie shooty laser going again.
Well, all right. Guess you don't want this. And Reagan swivels her chair around to reveal the completer sitting behind her.
Oh crap, shit, salad. Baby Zala. Zimmich, we do want it. Stop it. What are your terms?
Well, it seems to me it's not really fair for you to be all the way over there on that big thing. Why don't you come meet us here, bring that human that you so kindly showed me before, and let's talk.
Oh, we'll talk, but we'll do it right here.
The right head presses a button on the plate in front of him, and an even larger tractor beam shoots forward from the ship, encompassing the emissary in a vibrating blue light and pulling it towards it.
Reagan attempts to roll out of the tractor beam. 23.
The emissary finds a weak point in the tractor beam and rolls out.
No. If it's not here and it's not there, we're going neutral. And before they can answer, Reagan turns the ship around, returning to the mining planet.
The emissary shoots downward through the atmosphere once again towards the beige planet.
Zimmich, aim at the planet. Full power.
What was once a very large gun on the bottom of the ship expands, revealing that the gun that you had previously seen was about 10% of the full size of the cannon. It continues to drop out of the bottom of the ship, and then 4 lasers begin to glow, combine into one massive beam, and fire towards the planet, shooting through the atmosphere, past the emissary, which is just starting to get about 20,000 feet above the surface of the planet, and then the blast collides with the desert floor. The devastation is remarkable. A gigantic mushroom cloud begins to lift from the planet's surface. Ray is easily able to swerve the ship to avoid and get out of range of a gigantic shockwave that sends sand flying through the air in a massive cloud.
Now, our lunch was down on that planet, and we're getting mighty hungry. And when we get hungry, we get angry, a little thing I like to call grumpy hungry. So what'll it be? You have 5 minutes.
And the screen goes dark.
Reagan stops the ship and grabs the PA. CB, come on up.
CB, still deep within the mechanics of the engine, perks his ears towards the sound, wipes the grease off of his brow, and heads up the ladder towards the cockpit. Hey Ray, what was that crazy noise? Oh my gosh, did they shoot the planet?
Reagan swivels around, making direct eye contact with CB, before filling him in on the conversation that just happened.
Cora, impatient, scuttles away from the gun deck and back to her lab. She checks the progress of the analyzer.
The clock reads 1 hour, 50 minutes, and is counting backwards.
Damn it.
So what are we gonna do, Ray? I mean, they clearly hold all the cards. They've got a ton of guys up there, and if we just go in there, they'll probably just take it right from us.
Reagan nods her head. I want to run this by you first, because I know you've told me that you would never be a slave again.
Yeah, we did talk about that. What's your point, Ray?
I think the only way for us to get any further is to get on that ship.
But you just said out loud that I told you already that I never want to be a slave again, and you acknowledged that part, eh? So, are you just saying that you forgot that you said it a second ago, or are you saying that you're gonna actively ignore it right out?
I'm saying that I respect it.
During this incredibly intense moment, Cora pops her head up. So, what's going on?
Oh, hey, Cora. What's going on is that Ray's selling us across the river to that two-headed bug snorter over there.
Hey, I've tried every option that I could have thought of.
No? You haven't talked to Overlord Zilch Prime yet? You didn't answer me, so I made the call. I act impulsively when people ignore me. It's because I'm a narcissist.
Are you freaking kidding me, guy? Why do we even have him aboard here? Why didn't we just leave him back on that planet with Earthy?
Well, because I sent him to you. That's why.
The call picks up, and you see Overlord Zilch Prime in a gigantic golden tub filled with bubbles.
Reagan doffs an imaginary cap. Overlord.
Champion.
Look, we need help. They know we have the completer. They're gonna be taking us in. It's either that or murder, and I don't feel like dying.
You have the completer?
Look at me. I'm good at what I do.
Zilch 7, is this true? Yes, they are the most amazing adventurers I've ever seen. Well, why didn't you contact me sooner? What can I do to assist you?
Yeah, Reagan, tell us all the plan.
We need backup, and we need it now. There's another champion on their ship, Sylvia. They've taken her hostage. She's a slave on that ship.
All right, I think I understand. You want help, but with more finesse. No blowing up that ship?
Easiest answer to the puzzle, but unfortunately, not the one we're looking for.
I'm going to send you some help. And trust me, it's going to be wonderful. What does that mean, Prime? You'll see. Okay. Proceed as planned, champions. Act confident. You will win.
Zilch grabs a bottle of some kind of liquid, squirts it into the bath, and square pink bubbles begin to rise out of the water.
Toodaloo, my friends!
And the screen minimizes and goes dark. Almost immediately, the Zoop brothers reappear.
3, 2, 1, 5 minutes are done. So, what's it gonna be? Is it gonna be murder? Is it gonna be slavery? End of list?
All right, beam us up, Zoopy.
Actually, my name is Sidecar. And my name is Unpronounceable.
The beam fires off of the dreadnought once again, capturing the Emissary, and this time, Reagan lets it go. The Emissary is pulled back up through the atmosphere, leaving the destroyed planet's surface behind. And then, as it approaches the dreadnought, a large mechanical door opens up in the side of the ship, and the Emissary gently floats into a hangar that is in absolute shambles. Halves of ships strewn across the floor. Eventually, the Emissary comes to a stop and gently floats to the ground.
Reagan reaches out and gently puts a hand on CB's shoulder. CB, I'm sorry. Please believe me, this was the last thing I wanted.
CB shrugs off her hand. Yeah, that's a big 10-4 there, Captain. He stalks out of the cockpit, scurries up into his already walking mech suit, and exits the ship.
This, you can tell, upsets Reagan.
You know, I feel like I'm owed some sort of apology too. Like, I didn't vote for this.
Reagan does not acknowledge Cora, goes over to unbuckle 7.
7 throws his arms up like a child. Ooh!
And after doing so, follows CB out of the ship.
Rude.
I am also owed an apology. There are 2 of him.
Shut up, Wallace.
My exasperation has given way to fury, an emotion I had not felt thus far.
Wallace's tone is slightly ominous.
7 knowingly puts a hand on Cora's shoulder. I know what it's like, Cora. I'm actually owed a thank you. Look at us, the 2 most effective members of the crew. And not a single word of acknowledgement. I'm sorry, Cora. There. Now we're both happy.
What?
The crew exits the ship and sees up on a raised platform the 2-headed Zoot brothers, flanked by scores and scores of deformed soldiers, all carrying a variety of weapons. An absolute hodgepodge of radioactive scoundrels.
In person, the Zoot brothers are twice the size they appeared on the screen, towering over all of the already mutated henchmen flanking them on either side.
The head with the unpronounceable name holds in its hand a 6-foot-long scythe made of bones. The head appears to be the bone of some sort of alien alligator, about 4 feet long on its own, and it is covered with upturned skulls, teeth out, on the entirety of its surface.
In the other hand is a gun. The sidecar head cracks its neck and speaks.
So, where's our completer?
Well, where's my sister?
We asked you first.
I asked you second.
Touché.
The head with the unpronounceable name gestures to the rear, and an unconscious body is brought before them.
Now, deliver the completer, or else.
The Zoot brothers snap their fingers, and one of the henchmen lifts up the unconscious person's face by their hair, and you see Sylvia.
It's on the ship.
Perfect. You'll get it. The others stay.
That was great negotiating.
I've been reading books.
What?
All right, give me a mo.
By the way, any funny business and we kill the black-haired girl.
Reagan walks back onto the ship, bypassing the completer and going straight into the cockpit, where she presses the tractor beam button once again, aimed directly at Sylvia.
The tractor beam roars to life, shoots forward, and Sylvia is lifted into the air, encased in a blue vibrating beam.
CB takes the cue and launches into the air with his jetpack, throwing 3 crackling blasts at the Zoot brothers. Nat 20, 26, 23. For 50 damage.
The Zoot brothers rocket backwards 30 feet as the blasts impact in their barreled chest.
My barreled chest!
The Zoot brothers bounce back off of the wall, leaping back into the fray. The unpronounceable head swings his bone scythe down into CB's helmet. Nat 20.
The bone scythe comes crashing down through CB's visor. CB takes 39 damage, the scythe penetrating the visor and sticking into his collarbone. As the Zoot brothers come crashing down into the earth, they bring CB, mech suit and all, down to the ground.
All part of the act, baby!
7 sprints back to the ship.
The head named Sidecar pushes his revolver through CB's helmet, up against his forehead, and fans the hammer. 14.
CB bats the gun away before yanking back on a lever within the suit and launching it back 5 feet away from the Zoot brothers.
Wallace speaks to Reagan inside the ship.
Captain, do I have permission to take control of the munitions?
For the love of God, yes.
Very well.
The gun lowers from the gun deck and fires at the balcony, blowing it to smithereens. Plutonians go flying everywhere.
Cora takes out her blaster and points it at Sidecar's head. 26.
Hit.
16 damage. Cora then takes out a dagger with a white-hot glowing edge and attempts to stab the Zoot brothers in the torso. 19.
Hit.
8 damage.
Oh, that affects both of us.
She then presses a button on the console on her arm. Her boots glow and she disappears, 15 feet back into the hangar.
Back on the ship,
Reagan continues to pull Sylvia towards the ship, bringing her up to the entrance of the Emissary before running out and grabbing her.
the Plutonians are panicking, and very quickly an alarm whips up, and a dark and scary voice projects over the PA system.
Brothers, what is the situation?
Thorsby Raven Simone, it is lovely to hear from you.
We need as many men as we can possibly muster. Pronto.
Women too, and children, whatever.
Spend lives until your victory is assured.
That's so funny, I had that same thing on my vision board.
All Plutonians, aim at the joyful.
The Plutonians that haven't been blasted apart look to CB and open fire. CB, make a dex save.
7.
CB takes 27 damage as the laser blasts decimate the mech suit.
CB shakily takes to the air again, going as far up into the ceiling as he can, stabilizing, and then rummaging through the compartments inside of the mech suit to find the healing syringe from Bulbosa. Upon finding it, he jams the syringe into his knee and slams down the plunger.
CB's wounds begin to suture up and he recovers 25 hit points.
Oh, those guys can friggin' bang.
The Zoot brothers advance on Cora, and the unpronounceable head takes his bone scythe and battering rams it into her chest. 23.
Hit. Cora takes 24 damage.
Ow, hey!
The wound on their torso emits a bright light straight into the eyes of the unpronounceable brother.
The head reels back as half of the Zoot brothers are blinded.
What? Why? What?
Seven attempts to drag Sylvia into the Emissary.
His weak little arms are only able to pull her about 10 feet.
The sidecar head extends his hand out, fingers open, and the gun, as if by magic, flies back into his hand. As he flicks it, all 6 bullets load back into the chamber. He points it at Cora and opens fire. 25.
Hit. Cora takes 20 damage, bullets grazing her flesh. Wallace rotates the gun slightly, aiming directly at the Zoot brothers.
The sidecar head drops his gun, grabs Cora by the throat, and lifts her in front.
Wallace doesn't fire right away, and Reagan hears a little voice over the intercom.
Captain, I am switching to needle munitions.
The barrel rotates and fires at the Zoot brothers. But instead of laser blasts, hair-thin shards of metal fire at very specific points on the Zoot brothers. The Zoot brothers take 40 damage. The needles almost perfectly outline Cora.
Oh, my very specific parts of my body!
The corresponding parts of my body.
Alright, let's take a shot in the dark.
Cora takes out the device given to her by the GCC agent. She points it straight at the Zoot brothers and presses the button.
Zoot brothers, make a Constitution save.
11.
Oh, my head feels funny.
That's weird. My head feels completely...
Sidecar's head explodes.
What was that? Did you just spit on me? What is happening? Sidecar? Sidecar?
That was the greatest thing that has ever happened in my entire life.
Cora runs as fast as she can back towards the hangar of the Emissary. She takes out the healing vial from her belt and sticks it in her leg.
Cora recovers 25 health points.
Reagan takes the brunt of Sylvia's weight, letting Seven assist her, and brings her into the cockpit of the Emissary. She straps her into one of the seats and straps herself in as well. CB, Cora, everyone back on the ship.
The Plutonians continue to open fire at CB. CB, make a dex save.
13.
CB takes 29 damage. The laser blasts blowing one of CB's mech suit's arms clear off her body.
Half a mo, Reagan. I got something I gotta do first. CB dive bombs the remaining Zoot brothers' head, cutting the engine and attempting to curb stomp it from 20 feet up in the air with his mech suit boot.
Roll a strength check with advantage.
Nat 20.
Describe it.
No, seriously, Sidecar, what's going on? I feel like it's very rude that you're not answering me. I was blinded by a freaky ice chick's dagger.
With the full falling momentum of 40 feet and 700 pounds of steel mech suit, CB's enormous metal boot comes crashing down on the remaining Zoot brothers' skull, painting the hangar floor with it. Nobody calls cheeseburgers a frickin' gerbil! He collects his mech suit arm from the ground and sprints to the ship.
Wallace blasts a couple of more regular shots at the Plutonians, scattering them, allowing Cora a moment to escape back onto the ship.
Cora takes a moment to enjoy the blood splatter on the floor, as though it's a work of art. She takes out a swab, wipes it in the gore, and places it in an empty tube. She then sprints back towards the Emissary.
Wallace closes the ship's doors on his own, and without Reagan's input, begins flight procedures, taking off and blasting through the open hangar. The Dreadnought's hangar is chaos. With their leadership gone, the Plutonians are at an absolute loss. Most of them flee backward into the ship. A voice crackles over the speakers. On the Emissary, Reagan, you can hear the roar of gargantuan engines. A little video screen shows you the rear view behind the Emissary, and you see the Dreadnought's engines light up a deep red, and the whole ship begins to turn to give chase.
Wallace, take us back to Bulbosa. Stat.
To return the buffoon. An excellent idea.
The ship takes off through the wind. The Emissary is safe for now. 10 minutes go by, in utter silence. Everybody's still a little shaken up from what they've just experienced. And then, a little too soon, the Emissary comes out of warp, and as it does, Bulbosa does not lie in front of you. Instead, a gigantic frozen planet looms ahead, shockingly white, with hazy turquoise clouds.
Wallace, where'd you take us? This isn't Bulbosa.
I am aware of that, Captain. This is as far a distance as the ship's engine will allow.
Oh, frickin' heck, the dark matter engine! CB leaps from his battered mech suit and sprints to the engine room and directly up to the dark matter core.
The dome has shattered. A little pool of red liquid sits on the pedestal, and as you look at it, the red liquid burns a hole in the metal and sinks all the way down through the pedestal, disappearing.
Oh, out of the frying pan and into a big pile of shit.
This has been a Hero Club production, produced by Nick Williams and George Primavera, with associate producers Marty Abby Schneider and Dylan McCullum. Voice acting by George Primavera, Nick Williams, Hannah Fagerbaki, Jasmine Chung, Ryan Bowers, Gabe Greenspan, Marty Abby Schneider, and Dylan McCullum. Theme song written and performed by Zach Carlson, aka Famous Friend. Special thanks to Kevin MacLeod for his incredible music, Mage Hand Press for their genius D&D 5th edition homebrew, and Marty Abby Schneider for his amazing artwork. Thanks for listening, and welcome to the club. Sidecar's head explodes.
I f***ing called it! I called it!